To say the least, there's been some smack talk going on between Penn State and West Virginia fans, and I'm here to set the record straight. Who has the better players in this matchup? I think some of these picks are going to surprise you. Stick around, let's break it down. Right after this word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Magic Shine Auto Spa and Tint in Morgantown, West Virginia. At Magic Shine, your vehicle's care is their top priority. They use only the highest quality products to ensure your car not only looks its best, but is also protected and maintained with the utmost care. From window tinting with top-of-the-line Max Pro Tint or protective ceramic coatings from Diamond Protect, they've got you covered. Drive in today and experience the difference at Magic Shine Auto Spa and Tint. That's where your car can shine like new. Don't forget to shine on, Morgantown.
This is for Kimber.
Happy Wednesday, or as my dad would have said, Wednesday. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, and this is an exciting episode for me because we're talking about matchups. But not just your typical matchups. We're going to be matching up counterparts versus counterparts, right? We're not going to be doing quarterbacks versus linebackers, or there's going to be one occasion of that with Wyatt Milum versus Abdul Carter, just because that's just such a great matchup in this game. But generally speaking, like we're going to do tight end versus tight end, Cole Taylor versus Tyler Warren and the like, or Garrett Greene versus Drew Allar. Who's better between Garrett Greene and Drew Allar? Who's better between Cole Taylor and Tyler Warren? Who's better between Jaylen, Kimber, A.J. Harris, and Aiden Garnes and Garnett Hollis? We're going to start out with one of the best matchups for the first matchup to talk about. In my opinion, this is one of the most underrated matchups in the game because I think both of these players can have a significant impact on the outcome of the game on both sides, especially the Penn State side, because until the wide receiving core comes around, Tyler Warren may be the number one threat on that offense. Cole Taylor, who had 35 catches for 444 yards, averaged 12.7 yards per catch and 4 touchdowns, was along a 43 on the year, versus Tyler Warren, who had 34 catches, 422 yards, and 7 touchdowns on the year. This is a really close matchup. I think both of these guys are extremely talented. They had very similar numbers. And if you're asking me to pick who the better player is, it's really close. I'm not really sure who the better player is between these two. I'm going to give the edge to Tyler Warren on this one because I think he's going to get a little bit more usage in this game. I'm not talking about for now and forever, West Virginia fans. I'm just talking about in this game, I give the edge to Tyler Warren because he's going to be used more, and he's one heck of a talented kid. I mean, he really is. He's one of the most underrated tight ends in America. So his usage rate is going to go up. Cole's probably is too, but we have a few more weapons that are already established, and Penn State does not. So I think that's something they're going to be working through during the game, and they're going to lean on Warren to try to get that. So I give that first matchup to Penn State. Matchup number 2, this is a really juicy one as well. KJ Winston versus Aubrey Burks. On the surface, this is a blowout, right? KJ Winston. Now, this is a preseason All-American. This is a guy that most people expect to be the best safety in the Big Ten, if not the country next year. Aubrey Burks was getting a lot of that talk last year. He really was. He is a player that is going to be playing a bit of a new position. He's going to be moving back and forward from the spear, which is basically a glorified nickel, back to his free safety spot. And I think, Aubrey has a chance to really make a large impact on this football team this year. And while Aubrey Burks is one of the better players in the Big 12 conference, KJ Winston is one of the best in the entire country. And so you give the edge to Winston here, but Aubrey Burks could surprise here. He really could. This is Penn State. They're 2-0 at the moment, player for player. Matchup number 3, Jaylen, Kimber, and A.J. Harris versus Aiden Garnes and Garnett Hollis. This is a really interesting matchup because Kimber and Harris are extremely talented players, like extremely talented players. Harris, very little action for Harris, if any. I don't think he's even played in the game yet. So he's going to have some growing pains. But listen, if you want to talk about pedigree, he's got it. Check this out really quick. So this kid is a 4-star recruit, 6'1", 188, so he's big. Number 2 quarterback in America, guys. You know, number 1 in Alabama, number 27 overall. So a route jumper that possesses the ideal size-speed combo. And I'm not going to read all that because that's not what we're doing on here, but it says right here he's a member of the 2023 Freaks list. So he's most definitely a super talented guy. So obviously we know that. And then Jaylen Kimber is a guy that started multiple seasons at Florida. It was one of their best defenders. So this is a really, really tough one for West Virginia as well. It's not like I was thinking in terms of who wins and who loses when I put these together. I just thought these were fun matchups. But Aiden Garnes and Garnett Hollis are going to have something to say about that in this game. They've got a lot to prove. Aiden Garnes was one of the best, if not the best, corner in FCS last year. I get it. Huge step up. But you heard him say it in a press conference the other day. He hasn't even given up a catch in camp. If he has, it's been very few underneath. Nothing has gone over the top of Aiden Garnes yet in camp. We've heard as much. We've heard him say, bang on the table and say he's got all Big 12 potential. So he is most definitely no slouch. And then Garnett Hollis, another corner that played a ton on an 8-5 with the Northwestern team last year and was their best corner. Who do you give the edge to here? Well, you have to give it to, very slightly, Penn State again. You know, and I'm obviously a West Virginia homer, but I'm not going to get on here and lie. I think the combination of Garnes, Hollis playing, both having experience, gives West Virginia a huge advantage in this matchup. But Harris has a lot of upside. Kimber is just so good. It's hard for me to say that our two were better than their two. But being that we have experience, though, this was really closer to a draw for me now that I think about it a little bit more. So we're going to give that one a draw, really, because Harris doesn't have a ton of experience yet. Now we're going to get into what I consider the best matchups in the entire game. These are the matchups that are going to decide the wins and the losses in this game, no doubt about it. And there are more than just this, but I'd have an hour show if I did all this. Okay, counting down from 3 to number 1. The number 3 ranked matchup in this game for me is Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson and Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. Holy cow, what a matchup this is. You know, I've had Penn State people, you've got me fired up on this one because I had a guy comment on yesterday's video saying that Jaheim White would be the 3rd running back in Happy Valley. And I'm sure there are people in Happy Valley that believe Allen and Singleton are more like what they were in 2022 rather than what they did last year. But we're basing this off last year. And in 6 games, Jaheim White was an All-American, led the nation in yards per carry. You know, he is that damn good. And then C.J. Donaldson had double-digit touchdowns, 13, I think it was, 12, something along those lines. But I give the edge to our guys in this one. I really do. I'll take C.J. and Jaheim over Allen and Singleton. Penn State fans, I've been very fair, haven't I? And this is my true thoughts on this. I really do believe you guys just don't know who Jaheim White is yet. He is going, in my opinion, I've already picked him preseason to an Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 12 as long as he stays healthy behind what's an incredible offensive line. So, at least, you know, I don't know if we take a step back, but even a step back, you know, we were first in rushing in Power 4 last year. Let's say we're top 20. He's still going to have that's taking a step back. He's still going to have an amazing year. And I just think the White-Donaldson combo, it's a really close matchup. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these running backs, but I like our guys better. Number 2 matchup in this game, and this is tough because, I don't – I mean, it's almost like 1A and 1B for me here, really. It really is. But I'm going to say the number 2 matchup to watch this game, it's got to be Wyatt Milum versus Abdul Carter. This is the only opposites matchup that I did for this video. But holy cow, what a matchup this is, guys. Every NFL scout that's going to be there is going to be watching this matchup. None other. Nobody. I mean, other guys will get looks. These are the 2 most talented players in the game. Number 1 and number 2 in whatever order you want to give it. I think, in terms of draft status, Abdul Carter, because pass rushers and left tackles are very equally valued. But I do think that Abdul Carter is viewed as a better player than Wyatt Milum is, like as far as from the NFL draft. I personally don't know. It's tough. Here's why I'm going to give the edge to Wyatt Milum. He hasn't given up a sack in 2 years. He allowed 1 quarterback hit. Abdul Carter is a great pass rusher. Can't take that away from him. He can also drop into coverage from his DN spot. That's something that's going to be really weird. I'm scared they have a plan to confuse Garrett, dropping him into coverage from his DN spot. But Carter, it's his first games at defensive end with his hand in the dirt, and I think that's going to give Wyatt Milum an advantage. But this is an interesting matchup. I don't know who's going to have the better career going forward. They're both viewed as first-round potential players. Worst case at this point in time for Wyatt Milum is early second round. Abdul Carter, I believe, is pretty much unanimously thought of as a first-round pick. So this is a fun matchup, man. But I think Wyatt is going to win that matchup. I really do. I think he's the better player in this game. I don't know if he'll be going forward, but I like his matchup in this game because he's such a great pass protector. So I think we'll see Wyatt play really well against Abdul Carter come 31st. And last but certainly not least, the most exciting matchup of the game, it's got to be Garrett Greene versus Drew Allar. So looking at Drew Allar here, what an incredible season he had last year as a first-year starter. 2,631 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, and only 2 picks. 73.7 QBR. He's gifted, although, he had his struggles on the road. And I think that's, I look back at the Illinois game and a couple others where he really looked rattled at times on the road. And, but he did not throw picks. He just didn't do it. It's just what in his DNA, But the last game they played in was against Ole Miss. He 20 balls hit the ground in that game, if you look, So they're going to, even though he had 295 yards, 48 completion percentage, that's down where Garrett's usually been in the past. He did throw a pick in that game. It's going to be a fun matchup. I think Allar's going to be out for blood this game. Most definitely has NFL potential and really reminds me of some of the bigger guys like you can look to like a Will Levis or Josh Allen from the Bills, like guys like that. Ben Roethlisberger, there's a comp too. And it's going to be fun in this game to see just exactly how Drew bounces back from that loss against Ole Miss. Garrett Greene, QB1 in Morgantown. So 52.9 completion percentage is the main reason, if somebody's down on Garrett, that's the reason why they're down on him. Basically a little less than 53% completion percentage last year, but you can see the little box over to your right. him running with that ball right there is exactly why people love this kid. You know, he's an electric open field runner. Electric. Watch him split 5 Tar Heels right there. And the sidelines really what kept him from scoring. 16 touchdowns through the air, not great. We would love to have him we would love him to have about 7 to 10 more. And then, you know, where he really dices people up is on the ground. 772 yards and 13 touchdowns. That's like insanely good. It's actually in top 10 all time in the history of college football rushing season for a quarterback. So he really put it together last year running the ball, and that's what makes him so dangerous. It's a tough pick, you know, because I really do think Allar is going to be a top-flight NFL player. I don't know what his career is going to look like, but I do know he's going to get picked pretty high in the NFL, if not in the first round. Garrett is iffy with that. More than likely not going to be, but we've seen players his size more recently in history get picked. As far as this game goes, I'm giving the edge to Garrett Greene, and it's not because I'm saying that he's an overall better player than Allar. I just think Garrett has better weapons to work with on offense. That doesn't mean the Penn State defense won't be elite and have a lot to say about it and all that kind of stuff. But I do think, you know, Garrett has more proven players to get the ball to, and so his numbers may just look better. You know, I'm not trying to predict a win or loss based off of all this, really, technically, as much as who's going to have more success. And I think Garrett's going to have a little bit better success, personally. So that's just my opinion. Could be that I'm way off on this and Garrett struggles and Drew dices us up. That's absolutely possible. But I figured this would be a fun video, something fun to talk about. Let me know down below, guys. How do you feel about these separate matchups? Who do you like in the matchups? Do you think Wyatt Milum is going to be able to stonewall a guy like Abdul Carter wearing the famed number 11 at Penn State? Subscribe to the channel, guys, if you're new around here. And then drop a comment below, like I said, after liking the video. Let me know how you feel about these matchups, man, because I would love to hear some opinions on that. And if you have any other you would like to offer Penn State fans or West Virginia fans, certainly willing to listen to that as well. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. This was a fun one. We're going to be doing a game prediction pretty soon, so stick around for that too. As this episode's over, I'm out.
This is for Cameron. Kim. Oh.